babashuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refer to the Quran, which helps every novice to understand the steps towards understanding the Great Koran and the guidance of God in it.
Time to rise and meet the challenge. Babashuaib is calling you out. Meet Babashuaib, a correctional officer with a mission. Today he's throwing down the gauntlet to the mushriks, no more holding back. With his logo shirt and cap, Babashuaib sits tall and confident. He says, "The time for action is now. It's time to rise, to push past limits, and to become the best versions of ourselves." Babashuaib believes in the power of determination and resilience. His challenge is simple. Stand up, face your fears, and conquer them. Every day is a new opportunity, he says. An opportunity to grow stronger, to be better, and to leave a mark on the world. So, are you ready to accept Babashuaib's challenge? Are you ready to rise above and beyond? Join Babashuaib and let's show the world what we're made of, because the only limit is the one you set for yourself.
Where there seems to be no way. And it actually happened, and thanks to some of the brothers, especially also people like Brother Imran Khan, Brother Mohammed from God, Sister Rehana, Brother Miles. I can mention many of you on on the list for showing the support. It was just amazing. I wish I can just remember everybody's name, but you guys made it easy. Like, people, I cannot remember anybody in Ghana who actually came to me complaining and I was not able to help them out. Yeah, to be honest. And this has to be with you guys. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your effort, your generosity, the care you give, the willingness to actually, or I would say the willingness and the zeal to actually support this cause, that we will have a foothold. We will be seen as better people instead of seen as the inferior people. Because many a time the sectarians are perceived as the best among people. There's the cults, the Sunnis, Shias, they are seen as the big corporations and big organizations and big religious cults. But it shouldn't be that way. It should be for the cause of God, and humanity should be put first. Aside God, you have to put humanity. And this was all my cause whilst I was in Ghana. To be honest. And Ghanaians who testify to that, those who have actually met me face to face. Some people actually perceive my video. When they watch my videos, they think they are expecting to see an arrogant dude, some guy who is very annoying, irritating, but that's not what they saw, right? They saw somebody who was humble, who was willing to cooperate with the people, who was willing to help, who was willing to listen to the people, who was willing to share the wisdom and knowledge that he has. This is the side of Babashuaib people got to see. So a lot of people were actually scared, thinking, "Oh, Babashuaib, hey, you're going to Ghana, is dangerous, it's risky. You shouldn't be walking alone. You shouldn't go through the streets alone." Yeah, guess what? I was in the slums of Nima myself. It gets to a point sometimes I don't let my friends follow. I walk alone. Yeah. I go all the hood. I go to the guys. I greet everybody. God was on my side. There's no evil along my way. Yeah, I can tell you emphatically that we are winning. We are not losing. Yeah, wallahi, we are winning and we are not losing. And one of the amazing aspects was you could look in the eyes of the old people and how they put the blessings and then they share the blessings They actually do the prayers, invoke God, and tell God how much, grateful they are for me and the support and the protection they ask for. And then guess what? They are not only praying for me, they're actually praying for whoever is supporting babashuaib. You understand? To make the things that I was able to do back in Ghana possible. Right. And we've been in scenarios whereby some people are being driven out of their homes, and I have to stand for them to actually pay their rent and so on. It was just amazing. And all this I wasn't the only person doing this whilst I was in Ghana. I have a team who, like my elder brother, have another brother, Banama, and I have some people who are actually put into work. So it was like a team, right? And this is how it was able to happen easily. I know a lot of you who watch from abroad, overseas, you were impressed by the way, and I'll tell you, it's never an easy task. To be honest, it's never an easy task. But while I was there, I was enjoying it. To be honest, I was enjoying the euphoria. I was enjoying the act of walking through the how will I say, the small paths, narrow spaces where you have to go through some houses. It baffles me that I was actually born and raised in such a place, and also I got a chance to print my t-shirts back in Ghana. Actually, it was that aspect was something I loved, because it was cheaper to print in Ghana, the t-shirts, right? Correctional officer t-shirt. I did it for free, to be honest. Nobody was charged. I printed the t-shirt for free. Everybody who attended my program got a copy. Everybody I know of got a copy, 1 or 2 or 3, right? People love to show the support. People want to actually wear the correctional officer t-shirt. It was mind-boggling. To be honest, it was mind-boggling, right? The way people, guys, don't just think this is just a social media thing. I'm serious. It's not a joke. This is not just a social media thing. I even had old people, old women, old men who want to wear my shirt, who want to wear correctional officer babashuaib's shirt. It got to a point I felt like I was a fan, rather. To be honest, I'm not joking. It felt like I was rather a fan. I wasn't seeing myself as babashuaib, correctional officer. No, to be honest. And I could have goosebumps watching the way people act, the love they show, the way people want to actually shake hands with me, give me a hug, and tell me to keep doing what I'm doing. And to be honest, it's not the frequent faces even. I'm not talking about the people who are used to my messages. I'm talking about people I never expected, people I don't know. I don't know about, and they see me and they are like, babashuaib, keep doing what you're doing. I love your message. I'm like, wow. So it hit me, right? I was like, no, I need to do this more. And that is when I realized, okay, so now the charity cause I added to this movement made it more bigger, because then the people knew I'm not only sitting and talking, I care and I want to help people. Do you see the impact? Yeah. So it's not only about just sitting there and talking for hours. It's about the impact I can make back home. It also makes a difference. To be honest, I can tell you emphatically, like, throughout my stay in Ghana, I never came across somebody who I thought was just showing me a fake support. Well, there could be somebody showing a fake support, to be honest, but I being a correctional officer, I throughout my stay, I didn't come across anybody who I would just look in the eye and I'm like, are you serious? No, I never saw anybody like that. you know, and thanks to God, it was just an amazing feeling. Um, after a long time um, being in Ghana and going back to see my people, you know, I've been to Ghana before, but not as babashuaib, not as correctional officer. I've been to Ghana before. But now going to Ghana as babashuaib, the correctional officer, is a different feeling altogether. Sometimes I go to places, some slums, I just want to see if people can recognize me, you know. So I walk through, I went to places like, you know, if in Accra, I went to places, I went alone just to see how many people recognize me. I went to certain areas where I found about 3 people recognize who I was. And I was surprised because I was wearing a cap and there was nothing on my body to show that this is babashuaib, right? There was nothing on my body. I wasn't wearing my shirt. I wasn't wearing my cap, which with logo, anything, but people recognized me. Somebody just saw me and say, I know this guy. I'm like, where do you know me from? It's like, are you not correctional officer on TikTok? In my head, I was like, yeah, I was like, shake, give me a hand. So I'll shake the person and I'm like, you're smart because how did you just spot me? You know, just like that, you know, just imagine like you are not like different race, you are just like them, you know, and all of a sudden somebody can just recognize you with a snap. When you're actually wearing a cap, you covered your face. But to be honest, people recognized me. I was impressed, you know, and I never felt an inch of danger. Thanks to God. There was no moment I felt like I was in danger. Like I was like, oh my God. No. I felt at home. I felt peace. I felt the love, the support. I felt like I should do more of what I'm doing. Whatever I'm doing, I should do more. I think what I did was not enough. Yeah. I need to make a bigger impact than what I'm doing now. And inshallah, I know God is on my side and I know a lot of you support this. And I appreciate all those who supported me to make this possible in Ghana. There's one thing that I couldn't fulfill in Ghana, which was to get the Great Koran copies ready in order to spread to people there. That was not possible. And I will make sure it's possible by January, God willing, and people will get their copies. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Mr. Cruising Dude says, we missed you, Baba. People like Sheikh Samsung also actually inspire me a lot. Young, positive guy and submitter on the other side of the world. Yeah, with Sheikh Samsung, right? Let me see if I can share some slides, right? I think I can share some slides here. Sheikh Samsung actually came to the conference. Oh, sorry. He was at the conference and I was actually surprised to see him, you know. And guys, to be honest, Sheikh Samsung is actually a tall guy. He's taller than babashuaib, right? I'm like 173 centimeters tall, like 173 centimeters tall. That's how tall I am. So in inches, I'll be like 5.8. I think 5.8 inches or so. Sheikh Samsung is actually like 5.9 or maybe 6. No, not 6 inches. 6 feet is too much. I think it's like 5.9. Let me see if I can do this. I want to see if I can share some of the pictures from the event so that you get to see it. Okay, I take this. Let me put some of the pictures from, then you get to enjoy the pictures. And let's see what we have here, right? So we go to, I take you to correctional officer and the conference and some of the pictures. Yes, yeah. Is it okay? I can do this. Okay, this the guy on the right hand side is actually the he's the in charge of fixing the microphone, the speakers, and whatever have you there. And the guy on the left is actually the videographer who is in charge of the pictures, the video, the recording. And I had to use people from my hood. These are all people from Nima, Ghana, Accra, Nima. I was born and raised in Nima, in Accra, the capital city of Ghana. And these are people also born and raised in Nima, Ghana, Accra. So the event was organized in Nima, and I had to use people from Nima. All the event organizers I used were born and raised in Nima. I never used anybody from any other side because of the love I have for my hood. You understand? And these are more like brothers, elder brothers to me at the same time. So we go to some of the pictures, and this was during the conference when I actually had to let me see, is there any way I can make the picture bigger? Yeah, I think that's how much bigger I can make it. So this was at the conference, and I had the Great Koran copy in my hands that I have to give around for people to actually have the feeling of it and get to see the quality. And to be honest, when I took it to a lot of the printing press in Ghana, they were doubting if they could bring about the same quality as this. Yeah, they were all doubting. Two of the printing press who actually challenged that they could do it, they were charging me 3 to 4 times the price of this being done in Europe. I can't take that risk. And to be honest, we were even doing it for a charity cause. We were willing to print it and then distribute it there. So why should I go to the extent of printing a copy 4 times the price than in Europe? It doesn't make sense. It never made sense to me. So I was like, no. And the idea was to get the copies ready before the conference. That was my idea, to get the Quranic copies ready before the conference, but it was not possible. It was not possible. So that didn't happen, right? So here, let me see. Yeah, salam to you, Isa Shamo. Salam. Salam to all those on TikTok. Sorry, I didn't give you shout outs. I apologize for this. Kindly share so other people can join. Salam to all of you. Peace to you all. So we go to the next picture. Let me see. We go. So this is Sheikh Samsung. This is Sheikh Samsung. Actually, let me see this. I had a picture with him. Let me see. I had a picture with him somewhere below. Yeah, this was my picture with Sheikh Samsung. Unfortunately, for those on TikTok, you cannot see it. So this is Sheikh Samsung, right? I was impressed to see him. I was actually happy to see him with the passion and the support he has for my lectures, my videos, my how will I say? You know the feeling that when you become more like an inspiration for other people, right? I don't know how to explain it. Like, it shows that you're actually doing the right thing when you're touching other people's souls, and they feel like they have to put their energy into copying the things you do. That's actually amazing, So I was impressed when I saw him. I was just, but not only him. I had a lot of people that I saw that I was impressed. I would say all of the people I met, I was impressed to meet everybody. And the touching news was when I had people who actually come from the northern part of Ghana. Yeah, I had people who had to travel about more than 12 hours journey, from the north, get to meet babashuaib, correctional officer, get to hear me talk live. Yeah, so it was an amazing feeling. I appreciate all of you who were there. God bless you. And then this is another brother, Musa Seidu. I got to have a picture with this great brother, Musa Seidu also. It's just amazing getting to see, because a lot of people thought it was my day, so they are there to see me. They don't know how much I wanted to see them. So it's not about me on that day. But of course, I know people will feel like, okay, babashuaib would love to see you. Fine. But this event that I organized wasn't about me. It's about you people who attended. That was the idea. I just want to see the bond we had. I just want to see the connection, the bond. Is it actually just on social media, or can it be realistic? Can it be on in a real life? Can people actually sacrifice just to be somewhere that we can have a connection? And I actually noticed that, right? The surprising part about this gathering, at the end of the day, when the gathering was nearly about to go to an end, you see the number of people present in the picture. And to be honest, some people in this picture, some people even left. This is not all the people who attended. Some people had to leave early because they had to do something. They have to go for something. So they had to even leave earlier. So this picture you are seeing here, that was not all the people who attended. Yes, that wasn't all the people who attended. But check the people you see in this picture, and you can see of the number of people who attended the conference, and it tells you something, right? Yeah. So people are willing to actually unite, come together, you understand, to follow the core of the message the way it is, right? We can have a community whereby things can go the way we went, so that we don't feel isolated from the other people. Yeah. So somebody says, Zain Bean says, how? I'm in Ghana, but never heard about this event. I want to believe Baba didn't make announcement before. Okay, let me tell you how I made the announcement. I was scared of getting the crowd overcrowding place. So what I did is I only made an announcement, I think 2 or 3 days before the event. Yeah, that's all I did. And the point was not to make an announcement so that the place will be overwhelmed with people. I don't like that idea. I just wanted to see how much people are anticipating and willing to attend, even if it is in the space of 2 days or 3 days. That's why I did that way. I had people who told me to involve the TV stations in Ghana, some of the Islamic TV stations. I was like, no, that's too much. I will not do that. No. You understand? Because it was my first time organizing a conference by myself. So I didn't want it to be whereby of a bigger burden that I cannot contain. So I had to put it in the space or in a scope that I can maintain. Remember, God himself does not burden a soul beyond his or her means. So why should I be the one to burden myself with something which is beyond me? I wasn't ready for it. So the idea of you not getting to hear about this event was that it was in a short space of time, that I hardly even shared the flyers on my page on Facebook or YouTube or anything. I didn't. So people in People on my YouTube channel, people on my Facebook page, people on my TikTok page will hardly see any flyer saying that I have an event, unless the people who are actually, you know, really, really supporting the movement, they were actually aware. Yeah, salam, Zuleika, you're welcome. They were actually aware of the event, but I didn't announce it as in broadcasting it all over Ghana. I didn't do that because I can't contain the crowd which might be coming. And to be honest, after the event, I had a lot of people texting me to ask whether I'm still in Ghana, and they wanted to just meet me and take a picture with me. You know, and that wasn't actually the reason why I was in Ghana, but I felt like, well, if I had enough time for that, I would have done that. But that wasn't my objective. It is not actually about to meet the people and take a picture now, because it will feel like I'm just trying to be a celebrity. That's not the point. The point was the idea of pictures we had on that day was just to have a memory, something we can remember about this gathering. Because this is the first time babashuaib actually traveled out of my comfort zone to be in a place where I will organize a conference just to see people who would attend. So this is a way of me announcing that, yes, babashuaib is ready to travel around the world. And yes, I could visit other places in the world to actually have a conference where I can have interactions with people. You wait until be anticipating for the video. When the live video is ready, you get to see how the conference went, how I gave the chance for people to ask me questions. Right? We had two segments. The first segment was like 2 hours where I have to give a speech. I gave a speech. After the 2 hours, there was a break time in between. We had lunch. We ate, had drinks. And then after that, I opened the question and answer session, which lasted for 2 hours. So we gave each and every questioner about 10 minutes time, 10 minutes to ask me questions, right? It was open for all. Even a Christian was there and asked me questions, right? So the idea is just to get people to physically interact with babashuaib and ask your question, because I gave them the chance on that day. Throw your hardest question ever. Throw the hardest punch of question you have. And I was impressed. People were willing to ask me questions, you know, tough questions. And as you know, babashuaib is always ready. I'm ready. Always when you're a questioner, you are ready. babashuaib is ready. So again, so we have, let me see. We have beautiful sisters who were also present to ask their questions as well. So it's not only about the men being present. Just like online social media right now, we have sisters, beautiful sisters, whether single, whether married, all here watching, right? So the idea is, if we have a community whereby we can have the unity in such a way that among us we will have people who are even to the extent of having doctors, teachers, you name it, scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, you name it, all walks of life, single people, married people, you name it. Because in order to have a community, you need to have all people from all walks of life, where you can have a connection, a bond in different aspects, where we can actually get to know each other on different levels, you know, and it makes life easier, because it gets to a point that following the movement of the Quran, when you actually pledge to follow the words of God alone in the Quran, people like to isolate you. People want to avoid you. People want to tag you as an outcast. You understand? So that's the point. So it is always good for us to have our own setting, where if we have a setting where, let's say, a community we have people who are willing to follow the Quran, and then there are single people here, and there are single women, single men here, and single women here. We can actually have a community where we can join each person to another person in marriage, where we have our own community, so we will not feel different from other people when they try to push us away like an outcast. Because I know the feeling when you are alone and you think you are alone following the Quran, wherever you are, whether within your family, whether within your community. Sometimes it's depressing and it can be stressful. And I understand how it feels. You understand? Being babashuaib, sometimes I might not feel it at the same level as some of you, right? Because I get to interact with people. But how about some of you who are only isolated on social media? Sometimes it gets depressing, because the moment you don't step on social media, then it means you are alone. You understand? So it becomes stressful. And that was one of the reasons why babashuaib had to meet people. I had to meet people so that they will feel the connection that, no, this is not about social media. This is about, physical, bond, getting to meet people, shake hands with people. So I had one-on-one pictures with almost everyone who attended the event. So you see pictures here. I had pictures one-on-one with people. We go to the next picture. You can see me. This is with King Chaka. Is it King Chaga? This brother, I actually met him in a place called Awoshi for the first time, and then I decided to give him an invite. Unfortunately, he gave me an invite to his restaurant, but I couldn't make it because of my schedules were so tight up. You understand? Then we have this brother Shahad, right? And we have the brothers. This is Kudus. Is it Mohammed Kudus, right? We have them. You see? Yeah. Unfortunately, for those on TikTok, you cannot see. So unless you rewatch my YouTube channel, right? So it's just amazing to get to meet the brothers. This is Brother Sadat. Oh my God. I remember when I shared the pictures, right? This brother says, this brother told me, hey, don't forget to share my picture. I said, no problem. Don't worry, I'll share your picture. So that if you're watching, I'm sharing your picture now. This is your picture with babashuaib, correctional officer, right? So you guys might think you are taking a picture with babashuaib and this is the guy you want to meet. I'm humble to meet you guys and take pictures with you, right? This is what I want you guys to understand. Me taking pictures with you was more special for me than you thinking you met me to take a picture with me. Yeah. So, and it goes on and on with all the lovely brothers that I met, right? And this is Naba Hussein, the king. Naba. So Naba actually was wearing his traditional costume, and I had to push him a bit to go and wear my t-shirt, correctional officer t-shirt, and he actually did. I was impressed. I was impressed. So this is how it happens when we have beautiful sisters among us. This is Marjana. If we have beautiful sisters among us, we do have beautiful sisters among us, right? And it shouldn't feel like you guys are alone. No. Don't think when you are in the space of following the Quran, it means you have nothing to stand upon. It shouldn't be that way. I would love to see us in the future, somewhere in the future, we are standing on our own, and the mushriks will love to join us. I'm serious. And the mushriks will love to join us. You understand? Just because God will actually elevate us to a position where people will envy. Yes. And to be honest, when I shared some of the pictures, I had some mushrik friends who had direct contact with me. Mushrik, when I say mushrik friends, and some of them will be like, "Hey, who is that beautiful sister with you?" And I'm like, "Hey, are you serious? You mushriks? Babashuaib is actually standing here, and I'm meeting the people who I would love to meet, and now shaking hands with people, and you are just asking me who is that beautiful lady? You see the mushrik brains they have." These mushriks will never cease to amaze me. Wallahi. They have nothing to ask me than to ask me who is that beautiful sister you are with. They will wish she is part of the mushriks. But when it happens to be next to Baba Tribe, they want to know who is that beautiful sister. Hey, mushriks. Okay, let's go. So this is my one and only big brother, friend, elder, he's just is. I would say he's a big fan of Baba Tribe, right? He this guy is willing to stand up for me. Yeah, Oshiriri, right? I call him Shehu Oshiriri, right? Also from Nima, right? So you see how he's pointing the finger at me. And he's telling me you are number one. That's what he was saying in this picture. He says, you are number one, So it's just amazing. The feeling, getting to meet the brothers. We have Abdul Razak and then we have Tawfiq here. I had a picture with them together like this. And this is another brother, rich man, also from Nima. And these are all people who had, back then they had different views about Islam, but through correctional officer, they got to understand certain aspects of faith. And they were willing to ask questions where they can be enlightened. And many of them were actually impressed, with the way I answered questions. I gave my presentations for people who watch my video with Mami Grace. And I appreciate the support and the comments you all shared with when I had a program with Mami Grace. You can see the composure. You can see how I was willing to answer questions. Baba Tribe has never been scared to answer questions. Unless if you actually think I'm scared of answering questions, you are a fool. Yeah, no, I'm telling you for a fact. If you think Baba Tribe is actually scared of answering questions, you are a fool. All I will ask you to do is, I dare you, come face to face and ask me your question. That's all I can tell you. If you just think you'll be behind the keyboard as a keyboard warrior throwing stupid questions, and you think just because I avoid your questions I'm scared, then you are the biggest fool ever. So this is Brother Ashraf also present. We have Basit, yes, some of the brothers. And some of them actually getting to see me face to face actually gave them the reason to come and actually ask me questions, because some of them, it seems on social media, it is not a thing for them to ask questions, right? So they prefer to actually come to a place like that and ask a question. So it was actually helpful to get to interact with people directly. Yes, I see you, MJ, I see you. So those were some of the pictures you see. And this is actually my brother Abdul Razak, one of the people I put in charge to actually make the distribution of the food items whenever we organize the charity program. So that was some of the pictures from the events for all those who attended. And here you can see me whilst I was giving the speech. For those watching from YouTube, you can see, but those watching from TikTok, unfortunately, you cannot see. Hey, Brazil, I see you. Salam. Bra Naganko, salam. So And by the way, for people who were asking why was I wearing shorts, you know, on that day, it was very hot for me. I couldn't contain the heat, so I had to wear like shorts. You know, even my father was present at the program, and he was asking me, but why are you wearing shorts? Like, you know, I said, sorry, I can't contain the heat in your country. That's what I told him. So I told him I had to wear the shorts, you know, because I can't. The heat was too much. Yeah, I would have loved to wear a long pants, you know, to do my program, but it wasn't possible for me. For people based in Ghana, they can testify and tell you Ghana is very, very hot because we are just under the equator. You know, the equator, meaning where the sun actually stands in the middle and gets very hot. So Ghana is actually very, very hot, you know. Yeah. So this was me standing and actually giving the lecture. It was more of a speech than a lecture, but yes. Let me see. There should be. I had a particular picture I wanted to show. Okay, yeah. So this was my picture with the police. This was my picture with the police who actually were there to you know, to safeguard the place just in case of any mishaps or any chaos. But unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, there was no chaos, right? Somebody says my mobile phone is interrupting. Yeah, thank you, MFG. I see you. Somebody says my mobile phone is interrupting with the sound. Is the sound being interrupted? Please, just in case of any mishaps or any chaos. But unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, there was no chaos, right? Somebody says my mobile phone is interrupting. Yeah, thank you, MFG. I see. Somebody says my mobile phone is interrupting with the sound. Is the sound being interrupted? Yeah, guys, is the sound okay? Kindly let me know if the sound is okay. Somebody says my mobile phone is interrupting. Yeah, thank you, MFG. I see. Somebody says my mobile phone is interrupting. Yeah, guys, is the sound okay? Kindly let me know if the sound is okay. Somebody says my mobile phone is interrupting. Yeah, thank you, MFG. Somebody says my mobile phone is interrupting. Yeah, is the sound okay? How about now? I'm sure it should be okay now, right? Now the sound should be good. Yeah. How about now? I'm sure it should be okay. Okay, now it's good. Okay, yeah. So this was my picture with the policemen who were actually present on that day. They also actually told me they enjoyed the show, they enjoyed my speech and the things I have to say. Sometimes the majority of the people are not just ready for the message you have, but yes, if you can be persistent with the things you say, with time, people will actually grasp the message you have. Okay, so yeah, so here I just made a joke with the police, and I'm like, hey man, we need to shake hands so that the people will not think you arrested me, because the mushriks, they are quick to share stupid news by saying, oh, babashuaib, that guy that the police officers arrested. Mushriks, they don't cease to amaze me. You can just hear the mushriks saying that all of a sudden. They will say that the police arrested that guy. Like one mushrik in Finland here, who was actually, he called somebody in Africa, in Ghana, telling the person that I'm actually a madman and I've been taken to the psychiatric hospital, and that, oh my God, when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with my people? Like, seriously. But it does not cease to amaze me. Even the prophet was tagged as a madman. When you want to speak the truth, this is how people are. People are willing to go to the extreme to say you are crazy, you are a madman. Why? Because they cannot refute your arguments. They cannot defeat you. So the best they can do is tarnish your image by saying you are crazy, you are a madman. Really? I'm a madman? And yet I'm the manager of the branch I'm working for, and I have 2 kids. The last time I checked, they don't allow a madman to be a father of 2 beautiful kids. Anyways, the last time I checked, a madman doesn't travel alone, doesn't sit in the business class also. Yeah, the last time I checked, the madman doesn't go to Africa feeding old people. The last time I checked, the madman the madman doesn't have followers. But this is the extreme mushriks can go at. You know, you should not be surprised. When they fail to defeat you, slander becomes the tool. Yeah, that's their tool. They use slander. They want to slander you, call you names. Yeah. Omar Satau says, Baba, did you encounter or meet any mushriks on your trip? Yes, I did. I did actually, but it seems the mushrik scholars in Ghana were scared of me. They were running away. Yeah, they knew I was in town, but none of them were willing to come and approach me. None of them was willing to approach me face to face. Yeah, they are scared because I was born and raised in Nima. I will embarrass them, to be honest. Yeah, so none of the scholars who knew I was in town was willing to face me. So the mushriks, that's how they are. The mushriks. That's how they are. They just blab yob online. That's what they do online. That's what they do. They will yob. Come and face babashuaib face to face. You are running. Hypocrites. I will embarrass you, seriously. Yes, so in Ghana we say abain. That was me and the police. No Abdul came to me actually. So none of the Abduls actually was willing to come and face me. So these were some of the respectable brothers in the hood who actually came to the event, and I had to shake hands with them because I was amazed at how much they were willing to support and be at the event. So I had to shake hands. This was Brother Lab, that's Labaran, and I had to greet him. Omar Sataur says they booked their flight out of country when you booked your flight to come in. Yeah, that's what they do. You know, whilst I was in Ghana, you hear no word from any of the scholars that you know. None of them. Quiet. None of them will say a word. But as soon as babashuaib leaves, Yes. Hey, where is he? Where is he? I thought you. He ran away. Then they will say he ran away. That's what they will do. It hurt me so much that when I was in Ghana, when I did a program with Mami Grace, I was expecting the program to be published the same week. And unfortunately, it was delayed for more than a week. I would have loved the program to drop whilst I was in Ghana. Then the phone calls will start coming in. And then the TV stations will start getting ready for us. But unfortunately, I had to leave Ghana before Mami Grace dropped the program. So, but yes, I'm still willing to do programs with them when I go. I can go online or when I go back to Ghana. Yeah. So this was the pictures at the events. Let me see. And the brother showing the appreciation, to how I'm willing to interact with the people. I'm willing to answer questions, how I'm willing to listen to the people's problems, and how I'm willing to help out, because I'm just one of them who happen to kind of made it out there, and I'm willing to give back to the community and help people out, right? The video of the event itself will be available hopefully by the end of this week. I'll put it on my page. It will be on my YouTube page or Facebook, right? You get to watch the video. Don't worry. It's available. It's about, I think they have to trim it down in such a perspective, proportionate, portion where you can watch without getting tired or bored, right? So anticipate the video will be available for you to watch. These are now the pictures which were actually sent to me. Was it yesterday, right? I got hold of the pictures yesterday. So you have it in front of you now. Yeah. So these are some of the pictures to the events, and I spoke about issues pertaining to how we have to change the perspective in Zongo communities, right? Especially the communities pertaining to Muslim communities. Every country seems to have communities full of Muslim, or the so-called mainstream ideology of Islam. Every community seems to have that. But we have to change the perspective as to how to build a community and make it a better community, instead of just focusing on just getting up, going to pray, getting up, going to pray. Because the mainstream Muslim, this is what they have limited Islam to become. To them, Islam is all about going to do the ablution and get up, go and pray, and come back and sit down, talk, get up, go and pray, come back, sit down, talk, eat, go and pray, and come back. To them, that is Islam. That is not Islam. No. Submission to God is not only about getting out, going to pray, and this. No. Don't limit Islam to prayer. It's about how you're willing to also help humanity, help people, help people to actually become better people. Help others. It's not only about just praying rituals. No. And so this is some of the perspective I want my people to actually think and change from, and shouldn't just isolate themselves in just one scenario by thinking that, okay, that's how we are programmed to practice Islam. It shouldn't be that scenario. Okay. By the way, so this was just the videos, pictures from the events. But then, just being yes. I did had a positive, experience. Yes, exactly, Brother Imran. Yes, exactly. Okay, so here we go with some of the pictures at the events. Those who get to have the feeling of the Great Quran in their hands. People who were actually seriously sitting down, anticipating. And let me see. There is one picture I'm looking for. Hopefully I get to find it somewhere. So this is babashuaib. You can see me standing next to my old man. That is my father. On the screen in the middle, that's my father. That's correctional officer's father there. And then we have the police in my community, and my big brother, and one of my good friends that I actually grew up in their house, right? So that's a group picture with me and my father in between, right? So that's correctional officer's father. Then we have one of my brothers there who was present, Hajj London. Here. Yes. And the picture, kudos to Efa Dillinger. He was in charge of the videography and photography. Yes, the quality, everything was exceptional. I actually appreciate his efforts, right? They were all there just to support also the movement, right? And he actually didn't charge me more than expected, right? He actually charged me in a moderate price that I could afford. So it wasn't exorbitant, right? And he did his work diligently. Diligently, and his nickname is Dillinger. If a Dillinger, if you're watching, yeah, kudos to you. Big ups. And then we have Ali Mohammed. That's another good brother who actually supports my message and the things I talk about. He actually supports, and he came far away to actually witness the program. That is Ali Mohammed, right? That's the picture with him. And we have, and this is Ifa himself, the guy behind the videography and photography and whatever. That's him himself on the screen. Then we have brother Abdul Jalil. Abdul Jalil, also from the north, by his base in Accra, who I got to meet before the event itself, and he was present. I appreciate people as such who are willing to support. And we have Said, is it Said Bari, right? Said Bari Sisi. I hope I got your name right. And unfortunately, this guy's wife couldn't attend because she fell sick. But I think it says, is it between him? Is it him or their child? One of them was not feeling well, so they had to stay at home. So he came, but hopefully, he told me he needed extra shirt for his wife. So hopefully everything is sorted, because I don't want you to go back home and got beaten up, right? So that's me with Tawfiq Ibrahim. Yes. So this is where I had the change of shirts. I had to wear blue first, change, and then put on green. Yeah. Yes. And that's me holding the refer to the Quran next to it. And like I said, people who attended the event, each of you is going to get the Great Quran and the refer to the Quran, a copy each, God willing. So we make sure that is ready by next month. And we get it shipped to Ghana, inshallah. Yeah. So this was during the question and answer session where people got up and asked me questions, right? So we had people like Abdul Jalil. He got up to ask his question. We have this brother Kinchaga also was there to ask me a question. We have, that's Kin Hassan, right? Kin Hassan, but he has a nickname Chaga on TikTok. During the question and answer session, we have a lot of people who got to ask me questions at that hour. And we even have a Christian brother who was there to ask me a question, right? Which shows people were willing to be present and also support the cause. So this was whilst I was answering the questions. And some of the questions, the answers I gave, it is for people who have deep thoughts and can ask questions that can reflect the way we perceive our communities. Because gone are the days where you allow scholars to lie to us whilst we were kids, and then when you grow older, you are scared to ask the same questions again just to be enlightened, because you've been You've been lied to whilst you were a kid. So you need to rephrase the questions and ask again, because may it be the scholars are lying to you, but you never cross-checked, right? So this was actually getting to the later part of the program. You saw the spaces was getting full. People were actually seated, and the space was also like full up, right? And by the way, the food was sufficient for everybody. Actually, everybody who came got to eat about 2 packages of food to take home with, so food wise, everybody was sorted out. Nobody came there hungry and left hungry. Yes, everybody got sorted out, because we make sure you eat enough food before we can speak to you about God. You don't dare bring people to just come and listen to what you have to say, and then you don't give them food. It's not possible. So thanks to God, the drinks, the water, the everything was available for everybody who attended the program, and it was amazing. So I appreciate the presence of whoever came to the program. And as I said, this was the group pictures we had, right? This was the group pictures we had. And you can see how everybody was happy to be present at that hour. So I appreciate the support and all those who were present. I would have loved for everybody who attended the show on that day to have a copy of the Quran. But unfortunately, like I said, because it wasn't ready, so I couldn't, dish it out to the people. But I promise you, you will be getting your copies soon, inshallah. You'll be getting it soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was the pictures for the event I had in Ghana. Whilst having my stay in Ghana, I had the pictures of the charity course I had to do in Ghana as well. Let me see. I think I have some of the pictures here I can show. Okay, I didn't put it on here yet. I think I have it on my phone. Yeah, I have it on my phone. Yes, but of course, I will have time to show that pictures later on. But then I had this one video I need to talk about. This one picture I need to talk about. The picture is, let me see. Yeah. It's on the phone I'm using for TikTok. I will have actually taken the picture there to put on the computer. Unfortunately, there are a lot of pictures I could have shown you how it went, right? But by the way, let's not drift away from that. I will show you the next time I'm doing a live stream. But then let me put one interesting video, just to announce my coming back, right? One interesting video from this guy. This video is from Asim Al-Hakim. Somebody brought my attention to the video. I felt like let me play that video first. Where's the video? Where's the video? Yes, I found the video. Here's the video.
From the Emir says that he has a cousin that prays only 3 times a day. And he says that this is what was mentioned in the Quran. And Yusuf, your cousin, is a total ignorant. And he's in great danger, because if he insists with this ignorance of his, he's not a Muslim. Now, he is rejecting all the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And we know that the pillars of Islam is to pray the 5 prayers. And this was indicated in numerous numbers of prophetic tradition. So the consensus of all scholars of Islam that the prayers are 5: Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. To come and claim that only 3 are mentioned in the Quran shows his ignorance. Betting is haram, but as a figure of speech, I bet you he doesn't even know Arabic. He doesn't know even how to perform wudu properly. Now, to say that only 3 prayers are mentioned in the Quran, no problem. Can you tell me how many rak'ahs mentioned in the Quran for Fajr, Maghrib, and Isha, for example, or Asr? Can you tell me how many prostrations in each prayer, how many bowing or ruku', what to do, what to say. He can't. Where do we get this from? From the Sunnah. So, akhi, you have a big problem. This cousin of yours is delusional. He's ignorant and he's innovating in Islam. He's following the Rafidah in what he says, who combine the prayers and pray only 3 times a day. And I don't even have to comment on that. So your cousin is in great danger because he faces an act of apostasy. His belief would be an act of apostasy. You should try your level best to bring him back to his senses, because falsifying or saying that I do not accept the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ takes him out of the loop of Islam. Janki once again.
God have mercy upon us. God have mercy upon us.
Yeah, guys, you see how these people incite violence with their ignorance and stupidity, naivety, foolishness. This guy is a bozo, actually. He's a bozo, to be honest. I'm not joking. I'm going to take up what he said one by one. I'm going to show you the foolishness in some of the claims they make. This is the same guy who said he's not a scholar. So if he's not a scholar, which means his words shouldn't be taken seriously when it comes to the matters of Islam. He said emphatically that he is not a scholar. Listen what he said.
Akhi, when I talk about Islamic issues, I don't talk from my own self. I'm not a scholar. I don't come up and think, yeah, I think this is halal, this is haram.
They think they are sensible and they keep on making mistakes.
Akhi, when I talk about Islamic issues, I don't talk from my own self. I'm not a scholar. I don't come up and think, yeah, I think this is halal, this is haram.
Now this is Asim Al-Hakim, the guy who charges about $100 for 30 minutes consultation, right? This guy, he charges $100. Please help me out. Is it $100 or 100 and something dollar for 30 minutes consultation or half an hour, right? I just played a short video. You heard him saying that he is not a scholar. He just doesn't come and say, this is this, because he's not a scholar. Huh? Somebody says you can never be like Asim Al-Hakim. Are you a fool? Why should I be like this bozo? Did I tell you I want to be like a bozo like this? What is wrong with your head? Are you okay? I don't want to be like him. I would never want to be like him, because he's a bozo. What, do you think I want to be like a bozo? Yes, I can never be like Asim. Indeed, I can never be like him because he's a bozo. I'm going to show you the bozoness of your bozo scholar. Just sit there and watch. This is the bozos who keep mentally enslaving you, especially Africans, you, the black people in Africa. This kind of bozos, because he dresses like this and put his whatever the cloth on him, and mashallah, his beard hanging. And then you all of a sudden you think, mashallah, these are the people of Jannah paradise, and whatever they say is intact. Foolishness. Keep following your bozo scholars, and you see the foolishness on how they will make you a fool. Now let's fact check his foolishness. Check.
Yusuf from the Emirates says that he has a cousin that prays only 3 times a day.
Number one, this guy says he's not a scholar. Pay attention, close attention. I repeat the video. Check what he said himself. He says he's not a scholar.
Akhi, when I talk about Islamic issues, I don't talk from my own self. I'm not a scholar. I don't come up and think, yeah, I think this is halal, this is haram.
Thank you. So he says when he talks about Islamic issues, he's not a scholar. He doesn't just come out and say, I think this is this. Thank you. So always hold them accountable with their own words. And that's what correctional officer does, right? I will show you the fools and the hypocrites and those with the heebie-jeebies and their hula balloos. I will show you to you. So now there's a caller from the Emirates, United Arab Emirates, asking a question concerning, I think, his cousin, he said. Now listen to the question.
And he says that this is what was mentioned in the Quran. And
he says the cousin says that he prays 3 times, and this is what is mentioned in the Quran.
And Yusuf, your cousin is a total ignorant.
Then now he is answering by telling the Yusuf that your cousin is a total ignorant. He's totally ignorant, right? He's totally ignorant. Why?
And he's in great danger because if...
So he's totally ignorant and he's in a grave danger. Why?
If he insists with this ignorance of his, he's not a Muslim.
If he insists with this ignorance of his, he's not a Muslim. So being a Muslim is only based on their 5 garbage salats. That 5 salat they got from the garbage book. Those 5 daily salats they got from the garbage book. That is where Islam is based. So being a Muslim is about those five negotiated salats. That those salats, according to them, the Prophet has to go and negotiate. Are you with me? Those 5 salats, which was negotiated from 50 to 25 to how many 0.5, and then 5 salats. That is the salat when you are telling me that if I said I'm doing the one from the Quran, which is 3, all of a sudden I'm not a Muslim. You see how foolish this kind of scholars can be. Do you see the foolishness?
Now, he is rejecting all the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ.
Then they go on with their foolishness. Now they say he is rejecting all the Sunnah of these people. I don't know what is wrong. Their brain is kaput. So a particular Sunnah you can never prove from the Quran. Where does it say Sunnah to Nabi in the Quran? It doesn't exist. Where does it say Sunnah to Muhammad? It doesn't exist. Where does it say Sunnah to Rasul? It doesn't exist. You keep talking about Sunnah, but we don't see Sunnah to Nabi in the Quran. Sunnah to Rasul? Nowhere. Sunnah to Muhammad? Nowhere. How can you foolishly be repeating something you cannot prove from the book of God? And yet you say somebody is rejecting. Because the last time I checked, whatever is in the Quran is the thing that I should not reject. Everything in the Quran, I have to accept it. Yes, I accept. Can you prove to me Sunnah to Nabi where I can accept from the Quran? It doesn't exist. It's not there. And how in the first place can I reject something which doesn't exist? If it doesn't exist, I don't care. So how are you saying I'm rejecting something and yet it doesn't exist in the book? Let it make sense to me. These are the only people who will call us Quranists and yet they say we reject the Quran. Does it make sense? A mechanic deals with the cars. A scientist deals with science. You mentioned it. When we say somebody is anything with the east, it means that is what you do. When we say somebody is economist, that is somebody who practices economy. So now if you tag somebody Quranist, it means somebody who deals with the Quran. But yet these mushriks will say Quranists reject the Quran. Yeah, they call us Quranists. They call us. We don't call ourselves Quranists. We are Muslims who happen to follow the book of God alone, which is the Quran. But these bozos will call us Quranists and yet they will say we reject the Quran. Why? Because they say we reject the Sunnah, and yet they cannot prove the Sunnah from the book of God.
And we know that the pillars of Islam is to pray the 5 prayers. And
you see the foolishness. English is a problem for them even. He says the pillars of Islam is to pray the 5 prayers. Is that the pillars of Islam? Hey, Allah, these bozos, they don't cease to amaze me. This is why when I went to Mami Grace, I went all out on these mushriks. Yes, they are mushriks. I'm telling you emphatically. It says pillars of Islam. And 5 prayers is the pillars of Islam. Look at the foolishness. And people take this bozo seriously.
this was indicated in numerous numbers of prophetic tradition.
It's indicated, not in the Quran. Prophetic tradition. Prophetic. The foolishness of him using the words prophetic tradition. Prophetic traditions. Come and prove to me in the Quran where it says the prophet has traditions that we have to follow. What tradition? Does Islam belong to Prophet Muhammad? So what prophetic tradition are you talking about? When Prophet Muhammad himself was instructed to follow the creed of Abraham. فَاتَّبِئِ مِلَّةَ أَبِيكُمْ Ibrahim, you follow the footsteps. That is the creed of your father, Abraham. And then you sit here with your heebie-jeebies, and then you say prophetic traditions of who?
So the consensus of all scholars of Islam.
This is the worst case scenario. They go ahead to mention the consensus of the scholars. Who in the first place appointed these people as scholars of Islam? Scholars of Islam. I never find such words in the Quran where it says scholars of Islam. What do you mean by scholars of Islam? Scholars of what? Scholars of Islam. Who gave birth to these people by mistake? I don't get it. Scholars of what Islam?
That the prayers are 5. Fajr.
So it is the scholars who actually agreed that the prayers are 5. It's not the Quran agreeing that the prayers are 5. Listen carefully what he said. He says, by the consensus of the scholars of Islam, they agreed that the prayers are 5. They agreed. So it's not God agreeing. It's not even the messenger of God agreeing. It is the consensus of their heebie-jeebie scholars who agreed that the prayers are 5. I told you are mushriks. You are following these comedians, forming a garbage religion for you, and then you think you are guided in Islam. That's why I went to Mami Grish. I told you, all of you are mushriks. Because the 5 prayers you have is coming from the garbage book. It's negotiated. It's not from the Quran. I dare any scholar you have in the world to sit with me one-on-one and prove your 5 prayers. Let's see. Call me. When I finish this program, call me. I dare you watching. Call me and prove your 5 prayers. Let's see. With the foolishness, you keep fooling people out there. You say by the consensus of the scholars, they agree that 5 prayers. Let's correctional officer catch you one-on-one. You confess that day.
Zuhur, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha.
It goes at Fajr, Zuhur, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. Is it God who gave you this? Where in the Quran does it say Salat al-Zuhur? Where does it say Salat al-Asr? Where is Salat al-Maghrib? This 3 doesn't exist in the Quran. They do not exist. Wallahi, wallahi. I dare anybody watching where you can prove to me where it says Salat al-Zuhur or Salat al-Asr or Salat al-Maghrib. I dare you. Wallahi.
To come and claim that only 3 are mentioned in the Quran shows his ignorance.
Did you prove anything? You, the bozo, did you prove to us anything from the Quran? Did you go to a verse and say this verse, that verse, that verse? No. What you did was what? What they did was what? The scholars agreed that there are 5 prayers in Islam. That's all you did. You say the scholars agree. You never proved anything from the Quran. The person you are speaking about said there are 3 prayers in the Quran. What you need to do is disprove the claim by going to the same Quran to say, actually, that is a lie. So in the Quran, there's 4 or there's 5. That's how to disprove somebody's claim.
Betting is haram, but
he goes ahead to say betting is haram. When you go to Saudi Arabia, when you go to United Arab Emirates, when you go to Qatar, the number one thing they do is betting. Well, I'm not joking. Wallahi, the number one thing they do is betting. You think I'm lying? You go to Dubai and ask if I'm joking. They do betting. They do car race on the deserts. They do camel racing. They do betting. Number 1 in the Arab world. Wallahi, I'm not joking with you. Isn't that the same guy who said he drinks beer? You think I'm lying? Huh? This guy. You think I'm lying? Isn't that the same guy? Maryam race is what they do. I say betting. They bet, gambling. Look, everywhere in the world, there's no country in this world where there's no betting, where people bet and do gambling. Gambling is everywhere. Mariam, that's what I'm saying. Yes. They do betting. They gamble. And Qatar even hosted World Cup, right? Recently, the World Cup they played, was it not in Qatar? And football is all about gambling, betting. Football. It's all about gambling and betting. Right? So the Arab countries we have in this world, I can beat my chest and tell you they are even number 1 when it comes to gambling and betting. To be honest, that is why the Quran, you can see, it talks about maisir. Right? Khamru wal maisir. So because people do it. People gamble. So football is the number 1 betting instance in the world. When it comes to betting in the world, football is number 1. People bet. This guy is sitting here, betting is haram, but he's still going to bet. Listen to the bet he's going to do.
Betting is haram, but as a figure of speech, I bet you he doesn't even know Arabic. He doesn't know even how.
This guy, he keeps fooling himself in his videos every time. I don't understand why he does that. He says betting is haram, but as a figure of speech, I bet you. Again. Yeah. This guy is a bozo. Seriously. Azibal Akib. I don't understand what is wrong with this guy. He says betting is haram, but he's still going to do it anyway.
Figure of speech, I bet you he doesn't even know Arabic. Is haram, but as a figure of betting is haram, but as a figure of speech, I bet you he doesn't even know Arabic.
He's still betting.
He doesn't know even how to perform wudu properly. Now, to say that only 3 prayers are mentioned in the Quran, no problem.
No problem. Then why are you criticizing the person? If the person says 3 prayers in the Quran, is no problem. Ask him, Halakim, what is your problem? No, seriously. If somebody says there are only 3 prayers in the Quran and you say no problem, what is your problem now? Prove him wrong. Look.
Can you tell me how many rak'ahs mentioned?
If Quran doesn't mention raka'at, how can you foolishly be doing something your boss never asked you to do? Now, this is the foolishness of the mainstream sectarians that I don't understand. If the Quran does not talk about raka'ats, whether 2, whether 3, whether 4, if you can't find it in the Quran, who is now instructing you to do it?
in the Quran for Fajr, Maghrib and Isha, for example, or Asr? Can you tell me how many prostrations in each prayer, how many bowing or ruku', what to do, what to say? He can't.
He can't because it's not in the book of God. How can you be foolishly asking stupid questions? What is wrong with these people you call scholars? Huh? Seriously? Oh.
Where do we get this from? From the Sunnah.
Where do we get, who gave it from, who gave it to you from the Sunnah? Out of your foolishness and hypocrisy, are you not the same people who say the Prophet Muhammad khuluquhu Quran? You say his character was the Quran. So if his character was the Quran, how did you get something from the Sunnah when we don't even find Sunnah to Nabi in the Quran? Sunnah to Rasulullah, no. Sunnah to Muhammad, no. It's not in the Quran. So how come the Prophet's character will be the Quran and yet he is doing something which is not in the Quran? Logic, common sense is thrown out of the window. So that no wonder the sectarians, they tell their followers, don't use your reasoning in Islam. Don't use your logic. Don't use rationale. Yes, that's what they tell their, wallahi, I'm not joking with you. That's what they tell their followers. You think I'm joking? Let me play a video for you to know what I'm saying. I'm not joking.
Whatever Allah says, whatever the Prophet ﷺ says, we believe in it and we affirm it without thinking too deeply about this, about the actuality of this act.
I think that's just dumb.
So these people, they don't allow people to think and reason and reflect or reason. Whilst God keeps saying in the Quran, Afala ta'kilun, Afala tubsirun, Afala tatafakkarun, Afala yatadabbarun. Do you see? God is asking questions in the Quran. Will you not contemplate? Will you not reason? Will you not reflect? Will you not see? But you have foolish bozos, again, telling people, don't reason in Islam. Don't use your common sense. Don't use your logic. Islam does not allow you to use your logic. So to them, Islam doesn't allow you to use your common sense. That is why a lot of them are sheeple in Islam. I'm not joking. A lot of the sectarians, they are like sheep. I'm telling you emphatically. I'm not joking. A lot of the people in this mainstream Muslim, they are like sheep. Yeah, they will do whatever their scholars tell them without questioning, without reasoning, without contemplating, without actually thinking twice. They will do whatever they are told. Yeah.
So, Akhi, you have a big problem. This cousin of yours is delusional.
You never quoted a verse from the book of God. You never said anything from the book of God. You are now telling the caller that his cousin is delusional. You and the cousin, who is a fool, who is a bozo, who is a delusional person now? Who? Which of you? You, Asim al-Hakim, answering this kind of question. Who is delusional now? You, the one speaking from your whims and desires, the things that are not coming from God. You are rather accusing somebody who makes a claim that something is in the Quran. You are telling him he is delusional. And this guy is charging $100 for consultation. Seriously.
Ignorant, and he's innovating in Islam. He's following.
He is now saying that the person is ignorant and then the person is innovating in Islam. According to your own hadith books, is it Sunan An-Nasai, right? An-Nasai, where it says hadith number 1578, where it says kullu bid'atin dalala. Then he says, وَكُلَّ ضَلَالَةٍ فِي النَّارِ. It says, every innovation is an error. Yes, salam to you, King Hassan. I see you. Peace. Every innovation is an error or is straying, and every straying leads to hell. That is what their own hadith book says, right? Every innovation. Look, there is no exception. The hadith book clearly, explicitly, it says every innovation is a stray or an error, and every error is bound to hell. So if that is the case, a lot of things you guys have invented in Islam today cannot be traced back to the Prophet. And all the things have been an innovation. Yes, you lied against the Prophet of God. And you invented a lot of things in Islam which are not coming from God. But why are you now accusing somebody who said he found 3 prayers in the Quran? You say he has innovated something. Where is the innovation? The
Rafidah in what he says, who combine the prayers and pray only 3 times a day. And I don't even have to comment on that. So your cousin is in great danger because he faces an act of apostasy. His belief would be...
He says his cousin is in a great danger because he faces what? Apostasy. So because of not doing 5 prayers, listen carefully. Because of not agreeing with 5 prayers that you guys have formed for yourself. So the person becomes apostate. Hey. This is bozo. Why? Did the person say he's not a Muslim? Did the person say he rejects Quran? Did the person say he rejects God and his prophet? No. He just doesn't agree with this bid'ah you added to Islam. The 5 prayers you are saying is not from God. And he is doing what God commanded. You are now saying this person is an apostate. How can you foolishly be accusing people of apostasy? You, the guy who claim you are not a scholar. I wish I can meet you face to face one day. You, the bozo, you, Asim Al-Hakim, you are a bozo, wallahi. Because you hate the words of God so much, so that you even hate people who propagate the words of God to the people. And you dare tell the people you are not a scholar. But here you are passing on fatwa on people. And people take you seriously. It pains me if I'm foolish people among Africans who take such bozos seriously. That's what pains me the most. Well, because you're an Arab. They think, he's an Arab. MashaAllah. So only the truth can come from the bozo like him.
An act of apostasy. You should try your level best to bring him back to his senses.
He should try his level best to bring his cousin back to his senses. How? Now, how should he do that? By putting a gun on him? Because the last time I checked your own hadith books, it says, Man baddala dinahu faqtulu. It says, whoever changes his religion, kill him. That's what your own hadith book says. Wallahi, I'm not joking. That is what your own hadith, and you, Asim Al-Hakim, you even say it's a cardinal sin for somebody to go out of Islam. You said it is a cardinal sin, meaning the person has to be killed. I pitied countries who take such people seriously, and then you give them platforms and you think they are scholars. I pity you. This guy who says he drinks beer, this guy who sits in front of people, he charges people for $100 consultation. This same guy who says he's not a scholar, and yet you allow him to make TV, you even make shows on program. Hey,
because falsifying or saying that I do not accept the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ takes him out of the loop of Islam.
Hey, he will just sit down, pass on legislation, make laws, make everything. When he's caught at the end of the day, Akhi, I'm not a scholar. Akhi, I don't come out and say,
Akhi, when I talk about Islamic issues, I don't talk from my own self. I'm not a scholar. I don't come up and think, yeah, I think this is halal, this is haram.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the one and only Asim Al-Hakim, the #1 bozo in the mushrik world. I don't know why. I just seem to love that guy. I love him a lot. You know, I just enjoy watching him. Yeah, I just like for no reason. You know, I like foolish people a lot. I like foolish people. So I just enjoy watching foolish people a lot. Yeah. Wallahi, that guy is a fool. He's a big fool. Please let him see my video. Please let him see babashuaib's video. I'm saying he's a bozo. Wallahi, he's a bozo. He's a big fool. But I like him anyway. Because he brings his foolishness direct. It makes my work easy. Just so that I can actually show you how foolish he is. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is babashuaib, the correctional officer. I don't know. Let me give some chance for question and answer. Here we go. Let me put my number on the screen. For people who want to call and ask questions, you're welcome. Call. This is the number, the WhatsApp link. You can call and ask a question. Before I go to TikTok, I'm going to TikTok. It's been a while. I went to TikTok, you know. So now, if you have any questions, kindly call. Sister Shiva says, are you going to stream? We are planning on doing that. We are working things out, inshallah. When it's ready, I'll keep people informed. Yeah. So God willing. So that is the number on the screen. The WhatsApp number is +358 466 803144. You can call me via WhatsApp and ask your question. Right? I'll be going to TikTok soon. I have like 10 minutes maybe to go to TikTok. So the mushriks, if you are watching me, correctional officer is available. You know, I've never been scared of you guys, especially your scholars. I've never been scared. So even if you are in the audience, that is a good time to interact with me. So please call. Yeah, salam alaikum.
Salam alaikum. Salam alaikum. Peace, brother.
Peace, bro. Your name and where you're calling from?
Langston. I'm calling from USA.
From USA. Nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you, brother. Good to talk to you. Pleasure to watch you as well.
Thank you.
I have two questions, if I may.
Okay.
One is, how certain, because I'm interested in seeing like some orthodoxy within those who claim to follow the Quran by itself, the Quran alone. So there's some differences we see, especially when we talk about three prayers. You have some people who follow the Quran alone. They're saying there's Salat al-Wusta, being the middle prayer, which is something before, something in between Fajr and Isha, so maybe around Dhuhr and Asr. And you have some people saying, no, there's only Fajr, Isha, and then a night prayer, right? And then the second question, my question for that is, how certain are these groups? The one that's saying that there's Salat al-Wusta, and then the other group that's saying that there is actually a night prayer after Isha. And then my second question is, how much harm when we see the traditional Sunnis making Salat, if they make like an extra ruku or they stand back up from ruku and then they go down to prostration, because it's different from the Quran alone Salat. So how much harm is it in that if they're following this type of method that they deduce from hadiths or Amal al-Madina, if they're Maliki, right? So my question is, for the second one, how much harm is it that they deduce these other movements in the prayer that they've learned from their books or from the Amal al-Madina? Those are my two questions.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, So your first question was based on the wusta. The word wusta means the center or middle, right? That is what wusta means. That is Quran chapter 2, verse 238. So now, pertaining to that verse, chapter 2, verse 200, where God says, Hafizu ala salawati wa salatul wusta wa kumu lillahi qanitin. He says, God, or meaning observe the salawats, meaning the prayers or the litanies. And he says, as well as the middle salat, or we can say the center salat. That is, the word wusta means middle or center. Now, you have evening and you have morning. That is the dawn. That is the two sides of the day. Then when it comes to the aspect of the daytime, we have middle of the day and then we have middle of the night. But in order to say there is a middle of the day salat, let's analyze this verse. I'm going to put a verse on the screen. Can you see? If you can see the verse on the screen, you let me know. I'm going to put a verse on the screen. That is Quran chapter 73, verse. Let me put it here. Quran chapter 73, verse 7. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay, let me see if I can maximize it. Now,
okay, perfect.
So God says, "Inna laka fi nar sab'an tawila." It's talking to the prophet. When you read the context, starting from above, it is talking about what the prophet needs to do when he gets up at night. So God says, "Oh, you covered fellow, get up at night for a while, half of it or decrease a little from it." Then he says, "Or exceed over it," and intonates the Quran by chanting. "Indeed, we will cast upon you a heavy word. Indeed, the rising at night is more stressing and more appropriately stated." Then he says, "Indeed, you have occupation at length in the daytime." You have occupation. So because there is an occupation at length in the daytime, God actually gave him the night time to get up and do the what? The tahajjud. It is further explained in Quran chapter 17, verse 79. You understand? So getting up at night is what we call the middle salat, because what comes between dawn and evening is night. Do you agree with me?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. So the timing for the salat in the night is still stipulated in the same chapter, verse 23. Verse 20, chapter 73, verse 20, where God says, "Indeed, your Lord knows that you get up less than 2/3 of the night, half of it, and 1/3 of it." You see, there's a timing there. Do you see the timing?
Okay.
When God tells you to do something, he will give you the time for it, or he will explain to you what needs to be done. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm following.
Okay, so now he says less than 2/3 of the night, half of it, and 1/3 of it. Then he says, "And so do a faction of those with you." So it means it is not only for the prophet to get up at night, and the time given is not only for the prophet, it's also for the believers to get up at night. So between night, in the middle of the night, what comes on the sides of the night is dawn and evening, because evening comes before night time.
Yeah.
And then dawn, after night, you go dawn time. So you have the three salats there. Now, daytime, God says you have occupation at length in the daytime, because after the dawn salat, there is no salat in the daytime, because that daytime is for your activities. Meaning after the dawn salat, because the dawn is for the daybreak, that is the opening of the day. Then evening is the closing of the daytime. So in the middle of the day, you have occupation at length. There is no salat in the daytime. Now, this is my question to whoever said there's salat in the daytime, especially among the Quran alone followers. Just because it says middle salat does not denote that it is middle of the day.
Correct.
So if they say it is middle of the day, ask them, what time does it start and what time does it end? Ask any Quran alone followers that if you say there is a middle of the day salat, just ask them a simple question. What time does it start and what time does it end?
Yeah. Well, you know what they say, right? They say that it must be the middle of the day, and it starts from when the sun is just past the zenith until sunset. And they also like to use the idea that there's a Friday congregational prayer, correct? Or there's a prayer that is done in congregation on Friday, and they come to this conclusion as it's also part of the daytime as well, because people may not congregate at night, possibly.
Quran chapter 10 verse 82, God says he will enforce the truth with his words even if the criminals dislike it. Are you aware of the verse?
No. Can you bring it up?
I put it on the screen. Chapter 10 verse 82, he says, وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. He says, and God will enforce the truth with his words even if the criminals dislike it. So if there is an argument, whose words should we use to enforce the truth?
Allah.
Thank you. So now let's go back to God. Where did they get the notion that there's a middle prayer in the daytime? Where did they get it from? I don't want any guessing. Help me out from whatever they've told you. If there's guessing, keep it out. If there's assumption, keep it out. Make sure it's a proof that they have given to you. So where did they get the notion that there's a middle of the day salat?
I think it just goes back to where they say that the duluk it means actually when the sun is declining. The sun is declining from the zenith.
How does the sun decline from the middle of the day? It
goes towards sunset,
but
that's still not really far much decline. That's still up high in the sky.
Exactly. So that is nonsensical. If I'm standing straight, can you see I'm declining?
Yeah.
It's impossible to say I'm declining when I'm standing straight. So at what time does the sun start declining? Because when we say something is declining, it means when it's going down. It's not like when it's moving still up there in the sky in the middle, you say it's declining. We don't say it's declining at that time. It's declining when it's getting to the late afternoon. That is when we see sun is declining, because then it's going down till the time it vanishes. And late afternoon is just what we call evening, because when it's evening, that is when the sun is going down. It's not totally down, but that is what we call Isha, and that is the side of the day, because that is when the sun is at the side of the day, and it's already been elaborated. That is the Isha Salat, Isha.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, where did they get the notion, apart from assuming? I want them to tell me emphatically where it says middle of the day there's a salat with a proof, without actually assuming words around the words of God.
Yeah, other than assumption, there's no basis for it.
So then we cast away assumption, because God says assumption does not avail against the truth. Quran chapter 10 verse 36. This is what God says.
Yeah.
He says, indeed, and he says, and most of them follow only assumption. Indeed, assumption does not avail against the truth at all. Indeed, God is aware of what they do. So if we want to establish the truth, it's not about assuming things. It's about, does it say it there?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Because it will not make sense that God is telling the prophet, you have occupation at length in the daytime, and then still God will again give him assignment of salat in the daytime again. It does not make sense. Then how does he have occupation at length?
Very true. Very true.
Because if I have to go and do salat in the daytime, it means whilst I'm having occupation, I have to stop and go to salat and then come back.
Yeah.
So then God, according to that, their assumption, that means God has not been fair to the prophet by saying, I gave you occupation at length in the day.
You got to fight with your boss, and your boss is going to pull up the verse of the Quran. Like, what are you talking about, brother?
Exactly.
Your own religion says right here, you got work to do.
Exactly. You have occupation that day, and then you go and tell the boss, I'm going for salat. So that is why a lot of sectarians like to have what we call tarikus salat. They leave a lot of salat behind, pile up, and then come back later to do it, which is nonsensical, because God never put any burden on us. Quran chapter 22 verse 78, he says he is the one who has chosen you and has not placed any difficulty upon you in the religion.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be anything difficult in Islam.
Yeah.
You get the point?
No, it makes sense. It's clear. It's very clear. Okay.
Okay, so now let's go to the notion of the notion of the middle salat you first talked about. Then you spoke about the second question. What was it?
So the second question is in regards to like people who are praying, whether they're Shafi, Maliki, Hanafi, whatever. They're doing some movement. So they stand up straight. They give the takbirs in their hands. They pray, and then they recite Al-Fatiha, then recite a short surah, and then they bow down to ruku. And then they're gonna come back up saying Sami Allahu liman hamida, right? But my question is, in these sort of movements, such as that, or when they do the jalus or the sitting between the prostrations, is there any harm in that actually, even if we don't see it directly being mentioned in the Quran? Because the way I look at it is, it's almost like you're resetting your attention. So you bowed, you stood up, right? You stood up, then you bowed, and then you came back up to stand to reset your intention to prostrate. But again, that's just my perspective. I could be incorrect, but that's why I'm asking you.
First of all, I put a verse on the screen.
Okay.
According to them, those postures they gave you is a legislation. According to them, if you don't do it, your salat is invalid. Do you agree?
According to them, I agree, yes.
According to them. So now let's check this verse. Quran chapter 42, verse 21. God says, or do they have associates? In this context, it means idols, right? Who have legislated for them of a religion to which God has not authorized. So authorization has to come from God concerning your religion, whatever you are being authorized to do. So if you tell me that if I don't stand like this, God will not accept my salah, or if I don't do this, if I don't whip the devil with my finger, God will not accept my salat, then it becomes a legislation. Then it cannot be from God because we don't find it in the Quran.
Yeah.
You understand? So what God wants us to do is, you take Quran chapter 4, verse 26, for example. In Quran chapter 4, verse 26, God says, God intends to clarify to you and guide you to the examples of those before you and to forgive you. And God is omniscient and wise.
Yeah, God intends to clarify to you and guide you to the examples of those before you and to forgive you. And to God is omniscient and God is omniscient and wise. Okay.
So God is giving us examples of the prophets and the messengers. And we find them in the Quran. And God has instructed them to establish the Salat. Remember, the establishment of Salat started with Abraham. And it passed on to generations until it goes to us. Right? So he says, those are the ones whom God has guided. So lead by their guidance. Say, I do not ask you any wage for it. It is only a remembrance for the worlds. So when you read from chapter 6, verse 82 up to 90, it is telling you about the prophets God gave guidance to. Then he said, those are the ones whom God has guided. So lead by their guidance, or you shall be guided in their footsteps.
Okay, I see.
So meaning that is why we have the stories of the prophets in the Quran. Some people who say Salat is just following the commands of God as a duty. If it is as a duty, Prophet Abraham was already following God before he started establishing the Salat.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
You understand? So their argument is flawed when they say Salat is a duty. Abraham already had a duty with God. God put him to tests, commands, and so on before he even told God, make me an establisher of the Salat.
Yeah, and he also asked God to, in Surah 2, verse 128, to show us our worship rituals.
Exactly, to show us our rituals, our rites. You know, so some of the Quran alone followers, actually, who are not deep into studying the Arabic language, they are the ones causing confusion with their whims and desires. And I wish I can have them one-on-one for a dialogue to actually set them up for the world to see. You understand? They go around playing with words. They go around playing with words, but because they have never been put in the box face to face. So they think they have their way of making things up. This is Quran chapter 14, verse 40 on the screen, where Abraham said, Lord, make me an establisher of the Salat, the litany, and of my offspring, our Lord, so accept my invocation. So Abraham was already following the commands of God. He was already dutiful to God. But here he is now telling God to make him an establisher of the Salat, meaning something which can get you connected with God. You understand? Frequently.
Yeah.
So this litany is an act of communicating with the deity. That is, you are in constant communication with God.
Yeah, the Salat, right?
Yes.
Why is it translated as litany?
It's litany in the act of prayer, but litany because you have to do some recitals. The recital is part of it. Praying, obeisance to God is part of it. Genuflecting and so on. It's not limited to just one aspect. Because if we say it's just only prayer, that means I can just stand and just say prayer and then I'm done. It's a it's a combination of a lot of things that you do that makes it a litany.
Beautiful.
So here I'm just going to show you an example. You see here in the same verse I'm reading, when you read up to verse 37, chapter 14, verse 37, this is what Abraham was saying together with his when he was praying to God, supplicating. This is what he said. He said, Our Lord, indeed, I have settled some of my offspring in a valley without planting, near your sacred house. Then he says, Our Lord, so that they may establish the litany, so make the minds of the people incline to them and provide them with fruits. Perhaps they will be thankful. Do you see the supplication Abraham made?
Yeah.
So he told God, I'm going to settle part of my offspring. Then he says near, or it can be at your sacred house. The word inda can mean at, or it can be near, and still correct.
Okay.
And we know the houses of God are the masjids, where it is dedicated to God. That is, the masjids belongs to God. Those are what we call the house of God, or houses of God.
When we talk about these masjids, right? Many of the Quran alone followers are saying that it's not allowed to have the calligraphy of the word Muhammad in the masjid.
That I agree, because will you build a house and write somebody else's name on the house?
Okay.
You understand? So if you're building the house for God, why write somebody else's name there? If it is for God.
Is there a verse that supports that?
There's implicitly, not explicitly, but implicitly, Quran chapter 72, verse 18. It says, وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ فَلَا تَدْعُوا مَعَ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. It says, and that the masjids, the mosques, are for what? For God. So do not invoke anyone with the God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. I think you know what it is, like even just looking outside of like Quran alone followers, just people in general, they just don't know. I think that's the issue. They just don't know. A lot of people are just following what was regurgitated from their teachers and their madrasas or their schools, and quite oftentimes not researching themselves or studying themselves.
Yeah, it's good to study yourself, but it's good to have a guideline first before you study yourself, because I've found out that a lot of people who claim to follow the Quran alone, they play with words. They play with things in the Quran, which is dangerous for other people coming. The reason is, imagine you want to be a driver, right? And you have no experience in driving. And you sit in the car alone. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, it's going to be chaos.
And is it chaotic for only you?
Yeah, others around you as well.
Exactly. And this is what I find a lot of Quran alone followers doing. You understand? I would advise at least go to somebody who has some expertise in giving you guidelines. I'm not saying you should depend on the person 100%, but go to somebody who has expertise in order to help you arrive at a certain point. Then you can pick up from there.
Yeah.
You get my point. I give an example. One of the teachers who actually taught me driving, one day, I swear to God, God made me witness. One day, we met at a car park, and I had to pull my car out of like a tight spot. And this teacher happened to teach me how to park a car, but he never taught me reverse parking, because we had multiple teachers who teach you different terrains when it comes to parking a car. So he happened to only teach me the front parking, not the reverse parking. Yeah. But on that day, I had to do reverse parking in a tight spot. I had to pull out, then I park. And this teacher was sitting in his car watching me. Seriously, he was watching me, and I did the reverse parking perfectly. And I came out, and he saw me, and he was smiling, and he gave me a thumbs up.
Oh, good, okay.
You understand? But what I'm trying to say here is, you can see that even though he was part of those who gave me the helping hand, he will be proud to see me moving on from what he has taught me. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
So, meaning, if you learn from somebody who is knowledgeable, it gives you the edge of knowing what you have studied, because it goes with proofs and evidences. It's not just going by whims and desires. When I say you should go to a learned person to learn, it doesn't mean you should rely on the learned person 100%. You see, because when Moses, peace be upon him, when he went to seek for knowledge, remember when he went to the other servant of God? What the other servant of God told him is, how can you have patience for what you don't have experience in?
Yeah. In Surah Al-Kahf, right?
In Surah Al-Kahf, chapter 18, when you read, I think, verse 66 or verse 67. Yes, verse 67. That is verse 68. He says, وَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرُ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُحِيطْ بِهِ خُبْرًا. He says, and how can you be patient over that which you have not encompassed in experience? So this is the confusion that arises sometimes. You see some of the Quran alone followers taking verses and words and playing with it ignorantly on themselves. If you put them to the test of time within the public, put them in the public space and question them, this is where you see them stammering.
Yeah.
Then they start, just because I didn't study Arabic, you think you have an upper hand. That's because, then shut up. If you haven't studied Arabic, shut up. Why go speaking about something you don't have knowledge?
Yeah, there's also a verse in the Quran about that.
Exactly. You don't go argue about something you don't know. And God says, do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. You don't have knowledge, just shut up. Don't pursue it. Leave it for people who have studied it. Then they can help other people to arrive at the truth.
So,
I'm listening.
Do you believe there needs to be scholarship and people learning? So I guess I would say, do you believe that we're going to see within the Quran alone space some type of formal, I guess almost like a madhab, if that's even permissible? I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Would there be something formally placed here? Because you can't have every Muslim in the world call in to you to get answers. And I think you're one of the best to do it. I tell people, I just got a few more questions for him, but I think he's onto something. I think he's the most brilliant one right now that I've seen. And my opinion doesn't really matter, but I've learned from a lot of people.
Yeah. You see, I'm not the only one per se, I would say. I'm not saying people should take it only from me, but I'm just saying I have enough experience. You understand? To be able to give other people guidelines. Hey, thanks to this brother, Alpha Music Empire, Kollega. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate the gifts on YouTube. Thank you for the support. He says, welcome back, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you. God bless you. So what I'm saying is, when you are taking lessons from people who have enough experience, it makes things easier for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one thing I'm suggesting. And number two, when you are taking from one zone, sometimes you might be missing something. So it's good to be listening to other zones also.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Then you draw a contrast.
You encourage that, yeah?
No, I encourage that. You draw a contrast. But guess what? This is what I want. Babashuaib, I'm built for challenge. I'm built to have what we have, open discussion. I'm not the kind of person who want to remain isolated in what I know. I want people to challenge my views, but physically. I prefer people to come one-on-one and tell me, hey, Babashuaib, you know what? You are wrong here. So come, let's have a discussion on this. You're wrong. I would love to have that kind of discussion. But I hate it when hypocrisy is set forth. When somebody will stand far away and start pointing fingers and say, oh, Babashuaib is lying to the people here. And yet when you tell the person, come, let's have a discussion, he's running away.
Nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. Right? That's a coward. A coward does that. Because it's easier said than done. It's easier said. Because what Babashuaib does is, I like to put people on the spotlight. And I want to be done the same, but physically, face to face. I hate it when somebody has to stay far away and throw stones at me.
Would you be willing to go on a platform like the people we see at Dawa Wise?
I don't mind going one-on-one. I don't like to go in a setting where there's thousands of people sitting down and asking me questions. I will not do that.
Yeah.
I will not do that. That's a losing battle. You have to go one-on-one. And you have to choose the right time to go to a battle. I give an example. When Moses went to face Pharaoh, they set up a date. And he told Pharaoh to bring his best men. You understand? And this is what I want. Babashuaib, I'm not just here for every Dick, Tom, and Harry or a layman. I would prefer somebody who claims to know. Then we can face at it. Because I swear to God, if somebody comes to me and he's a layman, I'll make him look stupid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yes. And even if he's a learned person, I can just hold him by the balls. Because what I do is, I hate it when people have to approach me arrogantly. If people come to me humbly, we can have a discussion respectfully. I will not pull strings. No. Look, I've had several discussions. I can be look. I don't think you ever find one of my video where if my opponent is respectful and I'll be disrespectful. You'll never find such a video. Right? So if my opponent is willing to be respectful, I can be respectful with the person. Even if he's making some some mistakes, I can consider that. But as soon as the person becomes arrogant, I will have to set him up. I will set them up.
Yeah, it's only right. It's only right. It makes sense. I mean, but I think most people can tell. Like, I think, even when I first started watching you and I was seeing you call like people mushriks and things like that, I'm like, yo, this guy is off his rocker. But then I started realizing why you were calling people mushriks, and if they're doing like shirk things, then yeah, they're mushriks. You know what I mean?
No, of course. That's the point. Because everything I do, I have justifications for it. I can prove what I do. I'm not doing things out of ignorance, but sometimes people don't understand why I say things. And I prefer people to confront me and ask me, why did you do this? Or why did you do that? And then I can explain. Now, concerning the notion of taking knowledge from somebody, I put a verse on the screen, chapter 9, verse 122, right? Can you see the verse?
Yeah.
It says, and the believers are not to all hasten, so long as a faction does not hasten away from each division among them, that they may obtain comprehension about the religion, and to warn their people when they return to them, perhaps they will be cautious. Now, I want to see what you understand from this verse.
So the believer is not to be speedy or be fast, so long as a faction does not hasten away from each division among them. What does it mean exactly?
Okay, it has a context. In order to understand, when we read from above, it's concerning the war front when the believers have to mobilize. So it starts from, let's start from 120, right? It says, it is not for the people of Medina, that is the city, and those around them of the Arabs to stay behind against the messenger of God, nor shall they wish for themselves above himself. That is because test does not afflict them, nor exertion, nor hunger in the way of God, nor do they step on a foothold to enrage the disbelievers, nor do they acquire any enemy in attainment, except it is written for them as a righteous act thereby. Indeed, God does not waste the reward of those who are benevolent. 121, nor do they disburse a disbursement, small or big, nor cross a valley, except it is written for them, so that God may reward them the best of what they have been doing. 122, and the believers are not to all hasten. You understand? When the believers are going out, let's say for a war or something, they shouldn't all go out for the war. Some have to be left behind. And those who are left behind, this is what God says, so long as a faction does not hasten away from each division. So meaning the division of the army of believers who have to go out to fight. From each division, not all believers have to go out for the war. Some have to stay behind in order what? Among them, that they may obtain comprehension about the religion.
I see, yeah.
And you understand, in order to comprehend something of the religion and use that to warn their people. You see, so if I have comprehension of some aspect of the religion, I can use that to warn other people about it.
Yeah.
So meaning I go to a division, let's say I'm based in the timeline of the prophet, and I go to a particular division of believers, and I went to learn something that the prophet or the messenger has taught the people. So I took it, and I can go back to my people in order to warn them about that, what I have comprehended. You understand?
That makes sense.
So having knowledge about something that you can teach other people is allowed in Islam, as long as I can prove the things I'm saying.
Okay.
And so that is why Moses went to seek for knowledge. Seeking for knowledge is allowed. We should stand up from that idiocy of saying that I just sit down and just read the verses and I understand. Look, some people have the capacity of reading by themselves. Some people have the ability to listen and comprehend, but they are not good readers. And some people are very good readers and they can read some things and understand. Academically, for people listening to me, sometimes you can be in a classroom academically. Teacher will teach 1,000 times and you will never understand what the teacher is teaching.
Yeah.
Then it will just take one thing to be said to you by a colleague, and then voila, you understand.
It clicks. Yeah.
So that's how comprehension works. So comprehension is not about, oh, I can just sit down and read the Quran myself and understand. No. It's just like, then why don't you drive by yourself if you are inexperienced? So sometimes you need somebody to give you the helping hand. It doesn't mean you should be fully dependent on the person, but the person has to give you guidelines.
Isn't that what they're doing with the madhabs that we have today?
There's a problem with that. It has been corrupted. The point is, the mazhab has been drifted out far away from the Quran. Far away.
Yeah, of course.
Far away. And that's a problem. Comprehending the religion has to do with the Quran, not outside the Quran.
And yeah, so I guess I go back to my question. Will we see some type of formalized method where it's just based on the Quran alone, or is that not possible?
It is possible. Yes, it is possible. The reason why it is...
You say anyone is against that?
No. The reason why it's possible, let me tell you. Let's use Quran chapter 62, verse 2 as an example. That is Surah Al-Jumu'ah. Now check this verse. He says he is the one who has sent a messenger among the unlearned from them, reciting his verses to them, purifying them, teaching them the book and the wisdom, although they were in clear error before. Now, do you see what the messenger is doing to these people?
Yeah.
Reciting the verses of God to them, purifying them, teaching them. This purifying doesn't mean he's pouring water on them, but meaning he's vindicating them. Vindicating us
He's
to.
not baptizing them, yeah.
Yeah. This purification is a form of, let's say you are making mistakes before. So now you are taught the right way of doing things.
Okay.
So in that sense, you are being purified from the guilt and the mistakes. Then he says, teaching them the al-kitab, because the book has to be taught. That's the writing of the book has to be taught. Then he says, and the hikmah. And the hikmah is found in the Quran, chapter 17, verse 39. It's found in the same book he has to teach. Then he says, although they were in clear error before. So you see, the people he's teaching were in clear error. So meaning after teaching them, what happens? They are no more going to be in error.
They're purified.
Thank you. So now then they know the right thing to do. So that's how knowledge works. You teach a person from ignorance so that they don't make mistakes, so that they know the right way to do things.
Yeah.
But the question is, had God not taught the messenger, can he teach other people?
Good question. It's a very good question. But I think there's a verse regarding it, right?
Yes, there's a verse.
There's a difference between guiding and teaching, or am I mistaken?
Exactly. Teaching is allowed. Quran is taught by God, but whoever has to teach you the Quran has to be taught by God first before he can teach you. So for instance, if babashuaib, I'm teaching people how to understand the Quran, I need to be taught by God, meaning everything I say has to come in line with God. It shouldn't be my whims and desires. So it says, chapter 55, verse 1, the gracious, he taught the Quran, he created the human being. He taught him the declaration. So it is still God who has to teach the human being clarification, exposition, you understand, explanation. But it has to be in line with the way God wants you to say it or do it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be away from the way God wants it. So this is why when I talk about the Quran, the things I say, I put out challenge out there. I want people to challenge me, but don't stand far away and challenge me. Because then how will the people know I'm truthful?
Yeah, correct.
Are you getting my point? Because it's easier for people when they stay far away and throw stones. It's easy. Everybody can do that. You stay far away on your own platform and throw stones.
They just get off what they want to say.
Exactly. Because babashuaib, I'll push you to the tightest corner. I'll make you look stupid, especially if you're a rival. This is what I do. So the oppositions normally I have, they stay far away. And I bet you, when they come face to face, I make them look stupid, to be honest. Because then I prove to you that you're ignorant whilst being far away. Because there are certain things they don't know what adds up for me to say what I'm saying. They think I just got up out of nowhere and I'm just saying things, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I said everything I speak about in my videos, I can prove them. Nothing I say is out of ignorance. Because I know who the people watching me. I know who are against me. I know how ready people are for me. And that is why when I throw the challenge, you see people scared to come on my platform to challenge me.
Let me ask you one more question, if you don't mind. So it sort of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, and one of the proofs that they tried to use for saying that, which you've already clarified in great detail, that the Wusta Salat is not a daytime Salat. But going back to the subject of Salatul Juma, right? So what exactly is it? And then how is it performed by those who want to follow and adhere to the Quran only?
So first of all, there's no Salat called Jum'ah Salat in the Quran. It doesn't exist.
Okay.
So that is the first misconception. So like I said, we have to establish the truth with the words of God, not with the words of men, right? So this is what God says. It says, "O you who have believed, when called to the Salat," then it says, "from the day of congregation, then proceed to the remembrance of God and leave sale. That is better for you if you should know." So in this verse, where does it say Salat al-Jum'ah? Where does it say congregational Salat?
No, it doesn't.
Thank you. So if it doesn't, where did the people get the notion of congregational Salat from?
Maybe just from the Bukharis and.
Thank you. That is
Rajas.
external sources, because the words of God does not tell you congregational Salat. What it says is when called to the Salat, then it says from the day of congregation. So what we find is the day of congregation, not congregational Salat.
Okay. And that would be Friday, however. Correct?
No. They still twisted it and made people think it is Friday. Every country in every country in this world has the day of their congregation. It is the day you have sale and entertainment going on.
Yeah.
Every country has its own day. It doesn't have to be Friday. It's a unique day that you can have. For instance, in my country, where I'm from, in Nima, Ghana, Nima on Wednesday is the market day. That is a day of sale.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's saying that day, which is, a part of your culture in your country that is calling you away from prayer, and taking your attention away from God, is telling you don't forget on that day. Still, when you hear the call to prayer,
exactly,
you
when you are invited to the prayer on that day, whether you are having business going on, sales going on, entertainment going on, the moment you are called for Salat, it could be morning Salat, it could be evening Salat. As soon as you are called, just leave what you're doing and go. That's what it means.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
It's not just about Friday, when the mushriks will think that, oh, it's Friday, so now let me leave my things and go. And Saudi Arabia, by the way, they made it Friday as holiday, and it has nothing to do with holiday.
Yeah.
It is not an holiday.
I see. So would there be harm in that now? Now that it became a part of culture and around the world, would it be harm to congregate and get to know people and network and even maybe tell them about babashuaib?
A lot of people have the misconception that when we say Jum'ah, it means Friday, because this is how people have been programmed throughout the years by the sectarians and external sources. The word Jum'ah comes from the word Jama'ah. That's a root word. Jama'ah, which means to congregate, to gather something, to collect something, to compile something together. So it means, as a noun, it means congregation or gathering.
Okay.
So it is the day of gathering, the day of congregation. So where from the notion of Friday? Because the word al-Jum'ah is a definite noun, which has a definite article on it. It doesn't mean Friday.
The congregation, yeah.
Yeah, it means the congregation.
I think I presume that they just say it because of like the days in Arabic language, with Friday being Juma also, no? Or
okay. So let me help you out. Do you know how they say Sunday in Arabic language?
How?
It says Yawm al-Ahad. That is day 1.
Ahad, yeah, okay.
And then do you know what they say Monday?
Don't say day 2.
They say day 2. So they count them by numbers. That is day and number. Yes, that's how they count them. So then how can you be counting numbers, and when you reach number 6 and then you are saying congregation, Friday congregation?
Yeah.
How?
What is Saturday? Is it also number?
Sabt. It means Sabbath. Sabbath. Yes, Sabt. It's a number also.
Okay.
But
7, right?
yes,
Sabbath.
7. Yeah.
Okay. No, I didn't even realize that, actually. I don't know. I may have studied Arabic, but I don't remember learning the days.
Yeah, but this is how they twist narratives sometimes. You need to investigate how things evolve. And the etymology of words is also very important, how words evolve. You understand? so that you know from which state the word comes from and it ends at which state. It helps a lot.
That's wild. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. So now, some of these kids or uni students, they have the excuse to tell their parents when their parents are asking, "Hey, why aren't you going to Friday prayer?" They're like, where is it?
Yeah, where is it in the Quran? It's not. When I do it to people, they are flabbergasted. They get confused. They look me dead in the eye and they are like, I don't know. That's what they do. I just said, prove to me where it says congregational salat. They can't prove. I never met anybody.
Conditioning that people grew up with their entire lives. So when they hear you say that, it's like a smack in the face, or they're just like, "What is this guy talking about? He must be the crazy one."
Yeah, they think I'm crazy. But when I say prove it, they can't. Not even their scholars can prove it. And as a matter of fact, they said the prophet went to the sky to bring 5 prayers. Ask them, please ask them. Was Juma part of the 5 he went to bring? If it's not there, then when was it added?
Well, I was confused most about one thing, you got 5. They say you got 5 prayers, 50 prayers. Okay, but how did your prayers end up being some that are silent and then some that are out loud? And then you say that some have this many rakah, but then on your Friday prayer, it's out loud and it's 2 rakah?
Yes.
That just seems like a jumbo inconsistency.
Because it's a made-up, man-made religion. They made it up. It's not coming from God. God never instructed that. God never gave that. So it is a man-made concept because they invented that. Because according to them, when the prophet went to bring the 5 salats, he was given 2 raka'ats, meaning 10 raka'ats. For each prayer, 2 raka'ats, according to them. Sahih al-Bukhari 350. So if he was given 2 raka'ats, making 10, when did it change to become 17? How? Who changed them? Because the last time I checked, the hadith says the words of God does not change. So the last time I checked, when you change a number, if it says 1 and tomorrow I see 2, there's a problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Yeah, but people don't ask those questions. So that's why correctional officer is pushing to the people to ask these questions. And the scholars hate this idea. And that's why they keep telling people this guy is an enemy. Is this, is that, is this, is that.
Well, the reality is whether you have people who agree with babashuaib or they disagree, and they be like, no, I'm a Shafi, I'm a Hanafi, and this is my way, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Whatever, it's fine, but you still have to ask the questions.
Thank you.
Still have to ask the questions.
Thank you. That is my point. Ask the questions. And when I ask the questions, and this is why, Babasha, I love to be asked questions. And if for anybody watching me, you can know the kind of person I am, because the truth doesn't mind being questioned, but falsehood is always being scared of being questioned.
Yeah,
right?
Because you just blind follow it.
Exactly. So falsehood will shut you down because without allowing you to ask questions. But the truth is always open to answer questions. But the point is,
very true.
But the truth sometimes might not convince you. Do you see how it is? Because you need to give it time. Okay, I give you an example. Let's use women, for example. Sometimes a man will tell a woman, "Oh, I love you," and then the woman will be like, "Are you sure?" and he's like, "Yeah, I'm sure." Then she will be like, "No, I don't trust you." Yeah. So sometimes you try to be truthful, but people still will have doubts because it just doesn't sink in yet for them. So that's why with Quran, you have to give it time. You have to buy time understanding the Quran, because that's why God says, do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. So it could be at a given time. To me, what I've investigated is the truth. There's no doubt. I've seen it. But it might be to the next person, it is not yet sink in yet. So you need to give it time and do more investigation. But it doesn't mean you have to blind follow just like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like that. So this is similarly when a woman or a man tell each other, "I love you," they buy time. They have to investigate. The person has to put you to test and see what sacrifices you can do for them. Then they can actually be convinced. Oh yeah. But sometimes, because people don't know how to investigate, sometimes when somebody just comes and say, I love you, then they're like, oh yeah, I love you too. That's all. That's it. They have no idea what the love is about. Then it becomes a problem.
Okay. Brother, I really appreciate you. I guess if it's possible and I have any more questions, I can probably catch you on the next live.
Yeah, sure. God willing.
I might have a connect for your printing of the Great Quran if you want like good quality and very cheap in Southeast Asia. I'll reach out to you.
Reach me out on this same number. Just reach me out and then we work things out, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, man. May
Thank
Allah
you.
bless you and preserve you and allow you to continue to do what you do, inshallah. I mean.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. God bless. Peace.
Peace.
Yes, so that is our brother from the US. He was calling. Ladies and gentlemen, my time is over the board. I think I missed some things. I don't know. Did I miss something? Maybe somebody asked me a question I missed. Yeah. Yeah. In case I missed your question, I apologize. Maybe somebody asked me a question I missed because I was concentrating on this. But anyways, I'm going to TikTok. So kindly join me if you're here. You can join me. I might be there for 2 hours. And let's have fun. Muslima says, thought about your boy Grayson increasing journey towards Sunnism. I think with Grayson Brook, I just don't want to say it out loud, but I think it's a mind it's a mind game thing. With Grayson Brook, I think he just want to exploit. I give an example. Grayson Brook is a good young man. He actually got in touch with me recently, and we are still in the talks. So let's see what happens. But let me tell you how it happens. Sometimes you give somebody options to choose something, right? You give options. And then the person finally decide to choose this red thing, right? After choosing it, he's content with this. But then he decides, let me exploit this. I want to check what is in this. He wants to check. Then he'll be like, oh, I found this here. Interesting. You understand? But he's still content with this, right? So what social media does is content creating is an addictive thing. It's like an addiction. And I will tell you what, whilst I was away in Ghana for like 3.5 weeks, I was like, I miss my life on social media somehow. But to some extent, I didn't miss it again. I was like, yeah, right. Let me move on. But in another aspect, I was like, oh, I miss my family on social media, right? That is content creating. So sometimes you go with the flow of content creating, but you know your objectives behind. So I see Grayson Brook as more of such person, right? Who want to just exploit things, but then he has his conviction on the one side in what his faith lies on, right? So I have that connection with his understanding. So yeah, allow him to exploit. You know, in this modern day and age, you know, when you want to stay on one zone, people want to avoid you. So if he does that, people will avoid him. So that is why maybe he's trying to broaden his scope in such a manner by creating content, and it's allowed. Let him do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so yeah, Sheikh Samsung, I see you. Yes, I see you, brother. Nice to see you. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for your time. This is babashuaib, the correctional officer, and hopefully the video will be ready for the conference I had in Ghana. It should be ready by the end of this week, hopefully, and I'll put it up on YouTube for you to watch. For people who didn't watch my program with Mami Grace, kindly watch. It is on her page. I'll try to put another version on my page where you can get to watch my discussion with her. It happened whilst I was in Ghana. You're right. We had the discussion. So kindly find time to watch on her page. It's called Mami Grace. Mami Grace. Let me see. I can just put it on the screen here so people can see before I go. So when you go to a page, it was just pasted a day ago. I share the screen, then you see. This is the screen. This is the video, right? When you go on a page, you just see babashuaib. It's written babashuaib. What is your Islam? Revelations with Mami Grace, right? You go to a page and then watch. So sometimes she's very energetic. Sometimes she's, she has to, be, a bit jovial, and she's active, So I had a discussion with her, over an hour discussion. Kindly go to a page and watch. You will enjoy the show, right? Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. This is where I bring the topic to an end till we meet again next week. But then I'll be on TikTok, so kindly join me on TikTok if you want to have fun. babashuaib is there. And thank you very much, Alpha Music Empire. I appreciate the gift. God bless you. Till we meet again. Peace out.